Good morning, beautiful people. I have the amazing Naomi Eleftheriou, my creative goddess friend who I absolutely adore. And she's here for podcast episode number 3, Awaken Your Soul Art. Welcome, Naomi. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Fabulous, thank you. I feel like we've got like the creative vibe going this morning. I'm kind of like dressed a little bit artsy today. I'm loving your headband.
My favorite.
You rock that. I was thinking, I want to when I grow up, I want to be like Naomi and wear headbands. And I was like, I just don't know whether I can rock that. You've got it. It's your theme. I think the bright colored hair is my thing.
Yeah, I love your hair. I've always wanted hot pink hair, but I don't want. But bleaching mine is a big effort.
I have the beautiful Chloe who does my hair from Hair Lounge, and she, oh my goodness. We're here to talk about art today, and she is an artist for your hair. Like, honestly, I just adore her. Seeing her tomorrow, yay.
Oh, yes.
Naomi, tell us about what it is that you do, because I know you have like all these amazing skills, abilities, and gifts. So tell us about what those are.
Okay, well, I'm a spiritual and creative mentor and purpose coach, and I'm a contemporary jeweler and visual artist. So it's a big one.
You're amazing. Like, honestly, your jewelry is so amazing. You can just tell that you put so much love into what you do.
I do. I put a lot of intention and love into my work, and yeah, I just love doing it. It's meditative to me. It's a beautiful process. It's just keeps me connected. Yeah, so that's a huge part of who I am. I help mums and women step into their soul's purpose and their own creative expression and who they are at their core, and just find more joy in the everyday moments. So that's what I'm all about.
Absolutely, yeah. So I know you've worked with a lot of beautiful, amazing women, and also with your own healing journey. Like, what are some of the things that people come to you with that they want to, use art to work through?
So really healing process. Even for myself, that was where it really started. Was my husband and I lost a little boy in 2015 during childbirth, and that obviously wasn't the first moment of me being creative, but that creative side really helped me heal. And I left a job that at the time I didn't go back to a job that wasn't quite fulfilling me, and I ended up moving into a role that was so creative. It was the first time I'd ever actually, other than my own jewelry making and art, was working with other artists, and it was really beautiful. And I just saw how happy people were when they were actually looking after their soul and doing what they love. And I worked with over 100 artists in that role, so that was really beautiful. And I had an opportunity to do my own art during that time as well, and it was really quite freeing. And I just see a lot of people feeling the joy within themselves when they're creating. So that's really beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's so deep. I'm so sorry to hear about your baby. And, it's so amazing how you've been able to take something so heartbreaking and then metabolize and channel into something so beautiful as your art, so that and also working with people, like you said, around the joy and the beauty of creating as well. So art is the answer for all the different emotions, all the different aspects of your life, really, isn't it?
So is. And I think we see a lot of people not allowing themselves to be their artistic self because they people of themselves. And I just want people to know that you just have to give it a go. You just have to have fun with it and, awaken your inner child, really.
It really is, isn't it? For me, I've always been an artist. I'm not saying that everything that I've ever created was, amazing and, sellable or anything like that. It's about being willing to have, like with dance and stuff, I termed it like you've got to be willing to suck at the beginning. now after 7 years of pole, I can pole, that it was not pretty in the beginning. And then I go and try and do hip hop with Rick's kicks, and I'm like, oh, I can't do it, but I just love it. So it's okay to suck, whatever. It's like, it's more about putting myself into that creative space where I can work energy through and be creative, and in that flow, give myself permission,
Absolutely. It's unleashing, because you can't do that otherwise if you don't allow yourself to get in that process and stop being so hard on yourself. You have to be, like you said, you have to suck.
Totally. Yeah, that's so key, I think, in life generally, is learning how to just not be so hard on yourself.
And even like, if I look back at my jewelry making journey, like when I was at university, like I was pretty shit, hello, like, and I could have given up, but when you just know that it's the thing you're meant to do, and you don't, and you just keep going and you keep going and you keep going. And even while I was working other jobs, it was still always there, and it was still always the thing that kept me centered and kept me connected to who I am. And so that was really cool.
Oh, exactly. I think connection is such a key word there, just allowing you, like giving yourself permission to really be connected to your inner child, your inner inspiration, your inner muse, that if you don't give yourself the space and the time to have that, then everything else can take over. And then, it might be like 3 or 5 years later, we're like, I don't even know who I am anymore. Like, where did I go?
Exactly. And we still go through that. And I've even been through that. But if you have that constant of that creativity, it's this beautiful, it's like this golden light that's just always calling you,
Totally. So what do you think are the most important things about living a creative life?
For me, it's a mindset thing. So it's creativity is a state of mind. It's really, to start with, you connecting to your sense of curiosity, to your sense of play, and your sense of wonder. And that's where we really have to connect with who we were as children, before external forces grabbed hold of us and conditioned us to be a certain way. I think that's number one, is that sense of curiosity. That's really the biggest thing for living a creative life, I think. From my own experience, creativity and spirituality is intrinsically linked. So it's like you can't have one without the other. That's another really big thing for me. And I know, like, the word spirituality might be a bit polarizing for some people, but I'm assuming the people that are listening to this, it's probably fairly normal, so that's okay. And another thing is that I believe we're all creative. So it's really about finding our unique way of expressing our creativity. It's and again, not being harsh on yourself with what that way is. It's going to look different for everybody. And the more we use it, the more we get better at letting the creative juices flow, So it's innately within us, and it will continue to be within us as long as we can allow it to flourish. So they're the most important things for living a creative life, I believe, anyway. So, and just doing it, just doing what you can that makes you feel like you're having fun, because that's what creativity is. It's play.
Exactly. We don't know where following our creative path is going to lead us. No. We don't know who we're going to meet because of it. We don't know what's going to unearth because of it. And even if it doesn't become anything.
Yeah.
Art is therapy,
It is. It really is therapy. Like we were talking about before, it's a way of moving through our emotions. It's a way of moving the energy within our bodies, because if it just stays stagnant, so if you're feeling sad and it's just sitting in your body and you're not moving it, then you're just going to continue to feel, you're going to start to your body's going to start to show up in ways that aren't healthy. And it's not great. And then, you know, that's where the whole perfectionism thing is. If we can just set that aside for a little bit and just create for creation's sake, then that's where the most healing actually will occur, because we're letting these emotions move through us, through our art, or through just being creative. That's it. The same with, even if you're feeling joy, you have this build-up of like excited energy, but if you're not doing anything with it, it's still not necessarily great to be sitting within you. You need to let it out. You need to kind of express it.
Exactly. Express it, you know. That's it. And how it might look to others doesn't matter. Like, you're doing it for you, you know. It's like there's language and words, but then there's movement and flow. Let's say if you're expressing yourself, emotions, a new aspect of yourself through dance, and then if you're expressing something through making art of some kind, like I've seen your amazing paintings that you do, and then you're like sprinkling glitter and stuff on there, like that is so my jam. Like,
I love my thing.
Sparkle and bling, all my thing. So, you know, there's things that are not able to be encapsulated in words, that's the magic and the flow of life can't always be encapsulated in words.
Absolutely. Yeah, for words are not necessarily my number one way of communicating. Art really is. You know, I'll have visions of like artworks I need to create or jewelry pieces I want to create before I necessarily have the words to speak what they're about. It's a feeling, it's an energy. I'll often dream about things like that. Yes, for some people, language and words come easily to them. For me, it's not always the easiest way for me to communicate. So it takes a little bit more effort on my part. Art is really beautiful. It is therapy. And you, like you said, you don't have to do it for anyone else to see. It's you can keep it completely to yourself. You don't have to show anybody, not one soul, but it'll make you feel bloody good if you give it a go. And yeah, I just, like, even those paintings that I put up recently on my Instagram, yeah, I showed them, but they're really just for me. That's who they're for. It was just, I was actually having a fairly, not a dark week, but it was a heavy week. You know, we were in lockdown and lots of people were going through some stuff. And I just needed to kind of get that flowing, and it made me feel 100% better, honestly, just doing that. And I didn't have the opportunity to make some jewelry that week, and so I just used a different medium. I used what I had, and that's a really key thing to creating as well, is use what you've got around you.
Totally. And I think sometimes as well, like for me to, you know, collage or create a vision for my next photo shoot helps me to have flow for my dance, you know. And it's not always about everything that I'm creating, giving myself that variety with what I'm creating, but also other people's creativity, you know, like yourself and other people that I'm connected with on social media and what have you, to feel into what some other ideas are, like Feel Your Well. Like we were talking the other day about this, and The Artist's Way by Julie Stone was, you know, where I started many years ago, like 15 years ago at least, working with this book, and it changed my life. Like I carried it everywhere for like about 2 years, and I did most of the practices in there because I'm a bit of a rebel. I don't always do everything that I'm told. It's a 3-month course you do with yourself, and I worked with it sporadically, like just pick a page and do that for like 2 years. I did that. So I didn't work with it in order. I didn't do everything she told me to, but everything that I did apply, like the morning pages, I've been doing for a really, really long time. Consistently, pretty much every day. There's the odd day that I missed and I felt weird.
Yeah.
But she talks about in here, you know, filling your creative well. You know, the last time I went on a trip after like 20 months or 21 months, I think it was, without a trip away, just filling my mind with all the different sights, sounds, people, the different art, the different cars, you know, textures, nature. It filled me up, you know, and to give yourself that opportunity to really have those different things. And yeah,
it's a beautiful book. I mean, she was actually the one that taught me to journal, because I as a kid I journaled, but I journal like my day, you know, like, oh, I did this. Like, who cares?
Diary stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Dear diary, this person, I love this person, blah blah blah.
I
wish he loved me. But it was the first time I actually started to really journal, and I did struggle with the 3 pages. I was like, so I brought it down to 3 smaller pages and just would do that. And then I started doing it. I think I started doing it in the morning because that's when, you know, she recommended, but it didn't work in my schedule. So I flipped it and I started doing it at nighttime because that worked for me. And it all works. And, you know, I found a lot of inspiration in her artist, taking yourself on an artist date. That really stuck with me, because that's where I get inspiration from, is going out in nature. And like, honestly, nature is a huge inspiration for me. That is where I'm connected to the divine, and that's just massive. But not only that, like going to an art gallery and seeing other artworks, and, you know, seeing Indigenous artists and beautiful. I loved seeing like the jewelry pieces that were made, you know, years ago, and just their techniques. And that gave me a lot of inspiration, especially for like the knitting pieces that I do. And yeah, you can find inspiration in so many places. Like, and I'd take my kids with me, and so that kind of worked out really well. So I've kind of not thrown creativity down their throat, but I think they just naturally is part of them now, in different ways to me. But yeah, they love it.
Yeah, that reminds me, when I studied fashion in my early 20s for 2 years, like, you can draw inspiration from anything, for the different textures, for the vibe, for how things are pieced together, how things are not symmetrical, how things flow or don't flow. Like, there's just so much in there. I mean, I started as an artist, I would say, as a kid, but like in my teenage years, I was more like mixed media, doing different things with pastels and watercolor and acrylics, and more canvases and screen printing and stuff like that. But then to go into fabrics and how you can like then create wearable art, to me that was like so just amazing. And now doing all the photo shoots and everything, I'm able to style my clients because I've got that background. You know, I've since done a styling course and things like that too. So it all goes in your bank of your creative bank, you know. And, you know, I had a friend I haven't seen in probably 10 years recently. She's like, oh, you know, you're so glamorous. I'm like, well, to me, this is like just how I live now. Because as well, I hang out with all performers and artists and drag queens and all beautiful, amazing people that they do live their life like it's a work of art. Like, your house, everything becomes like a work of art. Like, what's your house like? Take us on a tour, Naomi. You have to do a story and show us your house sometime.
Like, honestly, everything we experience in life is a work of art. It's all the brush strokes. It's like you were talking about in the fashion. It's everything you see, every little texture, every little mark on a painting. And, you know, for jewelry, for me, everything's about the mark and the textures and the little things. It all builds up into this beautiful piece of art. But that's the same as life. It's just this, you know, these little parts of the stories that bring it all together. It's all part of this adventure. And, you know, every little piece has a place. And so that's where, you know, you can live your life like a work of art, and you get to create what you want. So that's really exciting. And that's where I think a lot of people don't look at it like that. And it's so much like your friend was saying, oh, wow, you're so glamorous, but it is, it's just you. I mean, I was for so long holding that back from myself, because I was working in the corporate world, and there's a certain way you have to dress, and it wasn't always me. And so I used to work in car sales for a little bit. No, I wasn't a car salesperson, but I was the showroom concierge. And I used to wear I had this felt necklace that was quite bold that I'd made, and I used to wear it, but then I'd have all these corporate clothes on, and it was so odd, and people were like, what are you wearing? And I'm like, I just want to wear something that's a part of me so I can express myself, you know. And that was my little teeny way of doing it, even if it was quite bold. And I always got lots of compliments on it and like questions about it, because it was so out of place in the world that I was working in, you know.
Look, I've just been rocking doing me in corporate environments for the past decade. I'm wearing a sparkly tutu to work. Like,
if you got no uniform, go for it. Honestly, that's awesome.
As well, you know, like it's glam day. I'm like, I already like every day dress up to go to work, so I'm gonna have to go next level. I've got to get the tutu out.
I love it when you get a job and you don't have a uniform, and that's why when you work for yourself, it's so good.
Exactly. Like I'm either like dressed up or I'm in fitness clothes or my pajamas. That's it. That's my three. Like, you know, when I go to just like, I just want to wear casual, just like hang out casual. I really don't have that many things.
Well, I have a few casual, but that's because I'm a mum, and then my clothes just, you know, get damaged or. But I do the same thing. I'll just like have a little bit of like bling here or there, just so that I can feel like I'm being myself. You know, it's beautiful. So
yeah, exactly. It's like I was just thinking, you just reminded me as well, like who has influenced you so much as an artist. Like I'm just thinking back to when I was a kid, from the time I was 9, I had a stepdad who was super creative, super eccentric, had traveled the world, collected. He was a jeweler as well, actually. He's since passed away. So that's what I'm saying was. So my little sister's father. And like, I really didn't realize until maybe a week or two ago in one of our, I think it was like Ultimate Truth or Creme de la Creme, one of the groups with Renee and Cam. And I just realized that my stepdad of, I think about 8 years growing up was such a huge influence on me, and that I kind of have modeled my life on him, you know, because like really I think in a small town that I grew up in, Alice Springs, like he probably was the most eccentric person there. And there's a lot of eccentric people there, and I just loved it. And I got to do all sorts of amazing workshops, summer schools, mentorships with all different types of creatives. I guess a fashion designer, you could call her. They did all her own screen printing, made her own clothes, lady who made shoes, potters, jewelers, you know, everything you can think of. And so this was all being imprinted on me from the age of 9. So it's like it gave me permission to create space in my life as an artist. So what are your thoughts on creating space in your life, and who's influenced you?
Well, I think when you can physically create space, obviously we need to make space in our homes or whatever, but sometimes it's not always available to you. So, you know, you might have to work at your kitchen table, and that's okay. Rather than not do it, get it out on the kitchen table. I have this little it's like a bag. I don't know actually. It's a sewing bag. I think I found it at Spotlight. And it's just this little bag, and I can shove so many different tools and things in there. So if I don't get out into my official workspace, I bring it in the house, and I do it at home, at the kitchen table, on the lounge, wherever I can make it work. So that's more the physical idea. Talking about making space, you know, even just if you don't even have even a slight opportunity to paint or get creative or make anything or collage or whatever you choose to do, then find the creative in your cooking. You know, there's the little things that you do every single day that can still be creative. You know, you might like moving cushions around. So my inspiration was my mum. So she is the most creative person I know, and her self-talk around that has never been the best, but she really is so inspirational. And she is the most amazing interior designer. She's not an interior designer by profession, but everyone, she is an interior designer. And honestly, like when she sold our family home, people would say, oh, this has to have been like professionally styled, and Mum's like, no, I did it. She was just always really creative, and she was my biggest inspiration. So creativity was always in our house. There was no doubt that I was going to do art. Like, there was always support from my parents. I didn't have the parents that said I had to go and, be a doctor. Even though at school I was an A-grade student, she was like, do whatever you want to do. And, it was always creativity. But yeah, finding space and you can do that through the everyday. So, in the cushions that you lay out, all those special things, in the garden, in your beautiful garden, we've got a friend in our creme de la creme that has the most amazing garden. And that's Lily. What, you don't know who?
No.
Lisa? Oh.
Amazing. I've talked about that one.
Yeah, she just it's gorgeous. And I mean, my garden is a bit of a mess, but again, I'll get there one day. But it's just, I see that's creativity, and that's her making space for creativity. But again, energetically, for me, I do a lot of meditating. That's how I energetically make space for ideas to flow. And that's just, quieting your mind, really simple. But I also use the creative time as meditation as well. So, that's the making space for me.
Making space in your schedule. And I love that.
Yeah. And I mean, making space in your schedule sometimes is a bit harder, but it's about making things work, isn't it? It's
sometimes things overlap as well. Like, you got the kids and they've got the TV on and stuff. You can be doing your art, like if you don't want to listen to, whatever Disney that's going on, let it go. So you put some headphones in.
Make an artwork around that.
Hey?
Make an artwork around that.
Whatever works, yeah. That's the beautiful thing, that art can flow into so many things. But also I think it's a boundary thing to say, this is important for me, this is important for my soul, it's important for me to feel like me. If I'm not creating, if I'm not doing art, like me without dance, I do not feel like me.
Yeah,
100%. Without writing every day, I don't feel like me. Wearing whatever I want to wear that's colourful and what have you, I don't feel like me. It's just key things. And for me as well, like I think that creating space with your finances too, if you want to go and buy yourself some paints or some new media, or like at the moment, I'm going to different op shops and getting new clothes and stuff, so that I can kind of mix and match some things, then I'll then redo into an entirely different outfit. I've taken like pants and made jackets, and like dresses and made a top, or top and a skirt, so I wear them separately, things like that. That it's like, just even like how you dress can take, it's not lots of money, but it's some money that it's like, or if you want to do a workshop or learn from somebody else who, like yourself, doing amazing workshops and what have you, like, what do you need in your heart and your soul next on your creative journey? What is your muse telling you that she needs?
Yeah.
And if it costs the money, creating space for that too, give yourself permission.
Yeah, you do. And you can do that in different ways, like you were saying. Op shops are a huge thing for me. I love using vintage items in my work and making things that are a little bit unique. I love found objects as well, like going around and finding objects outside and things and putting them into my work. So because I see the things that sometimes, someone else might think is a little bit messy or quirky or rustic, and I'll want to turn it into a really beautiful piece of art because I see the beauty in it. That's
that's so cool. I feel like, you're my soul sister for sure. We already kind of touched on this as well, like the self-talk around your art and things like that. Like, how have you, I guess, developed a way of talking to yourself that's really supportive and nourishing for your inner artist?
So, like I mentioned before, meditation is a huge thing. So I really connect with that higher self and that heart-centered loving space. And from there, things just flow in a kind of way. And using the words that, just, I'm awesome, I can do this. it doesn't matter if it's not going to be perfect. I'm just going to give it a go. You know, if you're not giving it a go, you're not going to create anything. So we just have to be really gentle with ourselves around the words that we use, and don't use things like I'm shit or this is shit, you know. And I hear it in my kids too sometimes. I'm like, no, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful piece of artwork. You know, you're learning. And we actually often use we're learning at home. That's what we use a lot, is we're learning. And that's a beautiful way to reframe things, is we're learning. It doesn't matter if it's perfect.
Yeah, so that's key as well. You were saying it's like to not say things like, my mother, for instance, she'll say, or she used to say, you know, I'm not creative. I'm more like, you know, a supporter of the creatives. But meanwhile, if you ever were to come to her house, it's absolutely amazing. Like, everything is styled in just the most beautiful way. How she dresses, like, she is so stylish. Like, honestly, she's like my spirit animal, my mother. She's so amazing. And us, like, she raised us and us to be super creative. She's got 3 super creative daughters, you know. So yeah, to me, like, just saying, you know, she's not creative, that is actually really not true. At least it hasn't stopped her. But, you know, she's very creative with her music and stuff as well. She's an amazing pianist. So yeah, I think how you talk to yourself and things that you say as statements, like, quite often are not true. And it's like, well, maybe I'll stop saying it.
I joined this group a few years ago called the Creative Exchange, and they're still going, and it is a beautiful group. When I joined them, it was actually a teacher who I used to, who was my art teacher, and she came into the gallery that I worked at the time, and we started talking because I was wearing one of my brooches, and then we kind of got this relationship going again, and it was really beautiful. And when I joined that group, that was when I actually started calling myself an artist. And that was only a few years ago. Or like, I called myself an artist, but not wholeheartedly. And I think that is the key. You call yourself an artist. And there was, you know, I hear it all the time. People say, I'm not an artist, I'm not creative. You got to stop that. You are creative. You may not want to call yourself an artist. That might not be your thing. Yeah. But you are creative. Everyone is creative. Full stop.
Totally. And it, like, for me, even there's a lot of people on social media that are creating amazing social media accounts. They are artists, like, they're digital artists. There's so many photographers, like one of my favorite photographers, QB, she calls herself an artist because she is an artist, you know. She's not just a photographer. Everything about how she works and what she does and how she edits and everything is art. It's amazing. Yeah, I think that's probably one of the key things I did get out of the Artist's Way as well, is to really own that.
Yeah.
Yourself an artist, because I think then you are going to honour yourself like you are one, and give yourself what you need as an artist, and create space for that part of yourself, so that you've got that balance. If you've got, like, you know, let's say a busy life that it's, you know, stressful or, you know, demanding in your workplace and family and what have you, that you've got that artist self that balances it all out and helps you to have that creative flow.
It brings the joy back into your life. Honestly, it does. That creativity, it brings it all back. And I just want to see everyone doing it and being creative and expressing themselves how they want to. I think it's beautiful. That's creative evolution.
That's totally it. That is our prayer and our wish, and why we came together to create this podcast episode today, is to let everybody know that you are creative, that you have magic available, and that you are the magic, you are the artist if you choose to be. And really let yourself have this beautiful, creative, colourful life of joy. That's our wish for you guys.
100%. And it's on the way already. So
oh, exactly. So having said that, we're going to just take everyone through an eyes closed process. It'll be about 10 minutes, and then we'll finish up the episode. So if you're driving, if you're doing anything that means that you can't just completely relax and close your eyes and enjoy this, just pause this episode and come back and do this when you can. Have a pen and paper handy so when you come out of it, you can take some notes if you want to as well, some action steps if your inner muse gives you some downloads. All right. So everybody just getting nice and relaxed and going inside your heart center and feeling all of the beautiful colors like a kaleidoscope of flowers of all different colors. That's right. Feeling those colors just like a liquidy light, like dancing sparkles warmly now, spreading throughout your entire body. Light and color just relaxing you, warming you, bathing every single cell of your body in light, creative light. Becoming aware of the most beautiful waterfall of loving, creative light coming in through the top of your head, feeling you like you are a beautiful, creative vase of energy. Feeling your toes and your feet, your calves, your shins, your knees, your thighs, your pelvis, all with the most beautiful, creative, loving light that you have ever felt before. Filling your middle, your organs, your chest and shoulders, arms, your fingers, your neck, your face, your brain, and then cascading, filling you all the way to the top and all the way around your entire body, creating a beautiful stream of light that you now can begin to travel down like an elevator of light, going down into the crystal realm of light inside your creative realm within you. And once you arrive into this beautiful illuminated crystal cave, you notice how the light dances on all of the different crystals in this place, and how the sunlight comes in through a hole in the top of the cave. Light reflecting and refracting off the crystals, creating beams of light that then flow directly into your aura, into your body. In that beautiful illuminated stream of sunlight, you notice now that your creative muse, your creative goddess begins to descend from that hole in the top of the cave, coming down the beam of sunlight. The most amazing, spiritual, creative, inspiring, enigmatic, fascinating, mesmerizing being that you have ever seen. And notice that they look a lot like you. And the most fabulous, amazing, radiant version of you that you can possibly imagine times 1,000. And now you feel compelled to merge with your creative muse. So warm, so loving, so inspiring. And as you merge fully with this divine muse, higher self, creative goddess self, you feel so inspired with the ideas and possibilities, things that you know that you want to take action on, things you'll write down and action. And just feel how the creative muse now is completely synergizing with every single cell of your body, bringing love and light to your entire field, like a sphere of light now. And noticing in your mind's eye how this creative energy flows like a waterfall, like a stream into every area of your life, your relationships, your work, your family, your health and fitness, your creative ventures, but noticing how everything, your whole life, your home, your body, how you express yourself is now completely immersed in the creative flow. I'll just leave you now for a moment just to really absorb that creative muse and the divine impact and impression she's going to make on your life.
I hold space for my creative self to flourish. I seek wonder in each moment. I give myself full permission to connect to my childlike curiosity and to explore, play, and create. I allow my art to be what it is, free of judgment and criticism. I look at everything I create with love and appreciation. I build my creative muscle every time I make art. I allow myself to heal by creating art that is an authentic expression of me. I encourage divine inspiration to flow through my art and my life. I trust in what my soul wants to create and the messages it communicates through my art. My life is a work of art, as am I.
Really absorbing all of those beautiful affirmations into the very cells of your body. Becoming aware of your reflection now as you have mused completely with the goddess. with your muse. Notice how you've changed into the most fulfilling version of yourself. And as you then finish this process of synergy and fusion and dance with your muse, you travel up the sunbeam of light, coming back towards your physical body, bringing all of your energy and consciousness back to your physical body, becoming aware of your presence in the room, the sound of my voice. And when you're ready, have a wiggle of fingers and toes, and you can open your eyes. I love that. Those affirmations felt so nice.
Oh, good. They felt very energizing and creative.
Really. This has been so wonderful. Thank you for coming on my podcast.
For having me there. It's wonderful.
It's so great. I'm just loving it. So what can people do with you? Like, how do they find you?
Okay, well, I'm mostly on Instagram. That's my favorite place to hang out, but I'm also on Facebook. So it's all Naomi Eleftheriou, all under Naomi Eleftheriou. My website is naomieleftheriou.com.au. And yeah, so you can find everything I'm about there. I have an upcoming program and women's circle very soon. So that's in September, it's starting. So that's really all about creating your own moments of awe and wonder, and so that you're not looking outside of yourself for all of the answers. So it's a really nourishing program, and yeah, so I'm really excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in Adelaide, you can come and join a jewelry making for the soul workshop if you're I have lots of offerings.
They're all on your website, or they're best to go to Instagram?
Yeah. It's all on my website. You can see it on Instagram as well, but everything's on my website as well. So
I love your website. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I designed that myself too. Another creative outlet. But yeah, you can join my email list. That's probably the best way to stay in touch. And yeah, when you go to my website, you can normally find a way of joining my Golden Seekers email list. So yeah.
Golden Seekers. I want to be a Golden Seeker.
Yeah. Golden energy.
That's awesome. Yes, my next creative offering is the Awaken Your Goddess Within program. So that's actually launching in August. Yeah, so excited. And my website is nearly ready to go, championingthegoddess.com. So find us both on Facebook and Instagram. And yeah, join our community. We'll join your community. You know, it's like just one big, amazing community of people who love everything to do with living your best life.
100%.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us for the Championing the Goddess podcast. We're sending you lots of love and hope you all have the most amazing day. Namaste. Bye.